Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your very kind birthday greetings and messages today. In the advent of social media, word travels fast, and there's just been an overwhelming response of kindness and an extension of thoughtfulness on the anniversary of my birth. So I thank you, my family, friends, neighbors near and far, for your very kind words. Though it is my birthday, which is generally a time, I think, for most of us to celebrate, I'm mindful of the fact that there is much to be concerned about, much that brings sorrow to our minds and hearts this weekend with the terrorist attacks and the mass killings in Paris, France, and Beirut, Lebanon. I'm also mindful of the fact that there are women and men and children all around the world that face persistent threats of violence, that live truly in a sense of terror and fear every day, and many of whom have fled their own homelands as refugees and migrants. My heart is with all of them. My mind, thoughts, and prayers are joined to so many around the world as we think of them, and in a special way those in Beirut and Paris this weekend. There's one thing, though, I should say, that I'd like to request of you on my birthday, if you're so willing, especially for all of those who sent their greetings to me today by Facebook and other social media. And that's that in addition to the prayers that we're offering in solidarity with those who have lost their lives or who have been injured and their families in places like Paris and Beirut, I would ask that you'd also keep in mind and offer a prayer both for yourself and for those around the world to not let our hearts be hardened by the fear and violence that these acts of terror invoke. As a response, there's a natural inclination among some to seek retribution, to seek vengeance, to fight back with violence, to fight terror with more terror. And as a Christian, as a Franciscan, as somebody who strives to follow the gospel, and as so many of you also do, I can't help but think that that is not the right response. In this time of great fear and unrest, may we be people of prayer, but not prayer just for those that we care about, but prayer for those who might be classified as our enemies or the perpetrators of violence. And that our response may not be according to the same rules and games as those who inflict such fear and violence on others. May we be people of peace and reconciliation. May we be people of love. I'm thinking of Thomas Merton, the great Trappist monk and author who was born 100 years ago this year and whose centenary we celebrate. Thomas Merton wrote in his book, New Seeds of Contemplation, about the root of violence, the root of war. And he says in a chapter that the root of all war is fear. And at one point he writes, and I think very poignantly, and I'd like to share with you just one quote, that for only love, which means humility, can exorcise the fear which is at the root of all war. More violence, more war, more discrimination, the closing down of borders, the exclusion of migrants and those seeking terror or seeking to flee from terror and violence and perpetual fear, to exclude them, to keep them out for the sake of our own comfort and well-being is in a form, a repetition and a playing into this terror and fear that has been brought upon us in the global community and in local communities around the world. And so it's my birthday wish, as maybe silly as it seems, but genuinely placed, that all of us join our prayers both in solidarity with those who have been murdered and who have been injured in their families in Paris and Beirut and around the world, as well as those who have decisions to make about caring for others who are victims of violence and fear and terror in our world. May we not become xenophobes, may we not become discriminatory, may we not perpetuate fear and terror in the lives of others when we can bring peace, love, and reconciliation. For it is only, as Thomas Merton reminds us, echoing the words of Francis of Assisi in the gospel message of Jesus Christ, it is only love that will conquer fear. And it is for that reason that Jesus, almost every time he appears to his disciples after the resurrection, begins with the words, "Do not be afraid." So may we be people of strength who pray for peace and live that peace in this world. And in the words of Francis of Assisi, may the Lord give you peace.